So now let's look at the next thing. So now let's talk about our MRR dynamics. So there's really four categories of MRR. There's new revenue that you brought on. There's churned revenue, which is basically cancellation of accounts. There's expansion, which is upgrades of accounts. So that's increasing the number of seats, increasing the number of usage. So paying more to basically keep using the software. And there's contraction, which is basically people downgrading but not churning. So you need to basically talk about the changes in your MRR by breaking it into these four categories so you and investors can really see what's going on. Okay, so you should track all of these numbers sort of on a monthly basis and weekly if you're really early stage. So first, let's talk about the churn rate. So we're saying that in March, we had one cancellation and we brought on 2 new accounts, and by the end of the month, our total active accounts were 33. And we're saying that the churn rate was 3.1%. So that's one cancellation, and then the total active accounts at the end of February was 32. So the 1 divided by the 32 is the 3.1% churn rate. Now in April, you can see that we had one cancellation, we earned 3 new accounts, and so our churn rate is the one cancellation divided by the prior month total, not the current month total, because the prior month is really the group of customers that were eligible to churn. So 3% churn rate. Okay, now we have the rest of the categories. So we have our MRR from up above, monthly recurring revenue. So one thing that's good to look at is your net new MRR. So how much new MRR did you bring in month over month? So I'm going to take the February number. So in March, we brought on 2,800 of net new ARR. In April, we brought on 9,490 of net new MRR. Now for me, this number is a little bit hard to conceptualize. So I like to actually look at the metric as net new ARR. So you just take this number and you multiply it by 12. And so this is how much annual recurring revenue you brought onto the business. So if we brought on 9,500 in MRR, really we expect that we brought on 114,000 of annualized revenue to our business. And so that gives you a better sense of, wow, April actually was a really big month. It really contributed to the overall performance of the business. Now here you can see expansion MRR. So we're saying that these are upgrades. So these are people that are purchasing more seats, etc. for April. And so April, a lot of expansion revenue, 5,500. Overall revenue increase was 9,500, and more than 50% of it came from expansion. So that is really, really positive. And then contraction, you have downgrades. So these are people that are downgrading their accounts, and then complete cancellations. So we lost 800 of MRR in March, 950 in April. And then the new business MRR. So this is just basically how much of that revenue, of that 9,500, came from brand new customers. And so basically 5,200 of it was from new customers, 5,500 of it was from upgrades, and then we lost 1,200 from contraction. And so you can see that adds up to 9,490. And so that's kind of the breakdown of what happened with our MRR. So you can just copy this formula over here. And then to really compare it side by side, there's a nice chart that a lot of people like to make. So here's what the chart sort of shows you. So you have your new MRR. And so this is MRR from basically, new business, brand new accounts. You have your upgrades, downgrades, churn, and then your overall change. So that's your sort of net new MRR. And so a lot of businesses will show this, but over many, many months, they'll have it going back like 18 months. But they'll show it on a chart that looks kind of something like this. I'm just going to do this in a basic way, just so you kind of have a sense of what the chart generally looks like. So let's see, cluster column. Yeah, it usually looks something like this. And so you'd see like MRR breakdown. And what this would show you is the line here is sort of your overall MRR. So your new MRR was 2,800, and then it was about 9,500. And then you can see these are all the things here on the positive side, your upgrades and your new business that increase your MRR. And below you can see the downgrades and the churn. These are the things that decrease your MRR. So it's good over time, and you can see this kind of big chart with this line overlaid over on the top of it that shows the overall change. And that's a nice way to summarize your MRR performance. Okay, so investor update. So overall, I would say very strong month. Onboarded 3 new large accounts. You can see we onboarded, over 5,000 in revenue, so those are larger accounts. Drove significant expansion revenue and onboarded 113,885 of net new ARR. So that's a nice metric right there. Okay, what else? We tripled expansion MRR month over month. So pretty much tripled it. You can see here, it's up 2.6x. So we tripled expansion MRR month over month, closing over 5K in upgrades for April. And then contraction, let's say contraction MRR downgrades were low at a mere 296 versus 335 for March. And then we did have one account cancellation. Was a smaller account. You can see we only lost $950, driving 950 in churned MRR at a 3% churn rate. So that should give investors a very good sense of sort of where we're at with MRR.